Finally, we've gotten a new season of Young Justice. One of the best superhero cartoons of all time, in my humble opinion.
Young Justice is composed of a group of young adult heroes mentored by, but often at odds with, the older and more experienced Justice League. The name Young Justice came from an earlier comic book about the newest generation of younger teen heroes teaming up and working together.
And one thing that both the comic and the cartoon have in common is that the teams are composed largely of kids who started out as heroic sidekicks.
The sidekick, while often mocked by some fans, is a long-standing tradition in heroic fiction. Hercules had Aeolus, Holmes had Watson, and the Lone Ranger had Tonto, and there are several archetypes of superhero sidekick. The plucky girlfriend/secretary who becomes a female counterpart of her male hero boyfriend/employer, the hero's slightly dopier buddy, the action butler or chauffeur, and oddly, the portly middle-aged doofus. But the most iconic of these is the kid sidekick. Although he is predated by Crimson Avenger's boy buddy Wing, the sidekick who started the trend was Robin the Boy Wonder, introduced in Detective Comics number 38 as the young partner of Batman. Thought of as a viewpoint character for the kids reading the comics, Robin became immensely popular despite what modern critics would like to believe, and appeared in every Batman story for a couple of decades thereafter, even having his own successful solo series in Star Spangled Comics for many years. And thus Dick Grayson, by the hand of fate, is transformed into that astonishing phenomenon, that young Robin Hood of today, Robin the Boy Wonder. Robin's popularity was such that many costume superheroes went out and adopted a young ward of their own. Several odd trends emerged as well. Sidekicks like Dusty, Bucky, or Sandy the Golden Boy used their real first names, or at least civilian nicknames, as their superhero names. A number of them ran around in swim trunks and bare legs, although this was admittedly the fashion for a number of adult heroes as well.
This was meant to emulate the costume of the circus strongman, which was a common character type at the time. It was intended to suggest their strength and not an indication that there were a lot of exhibitionists running around in the 1940s.
Kid sidekicks were everywhere in the Golden Age. Although generally thought of as teens in the present, they were clearly meant at the time to be younger boys, mostly boys, around the age of the reader. Although modern critics often talk about child endangerment, you weren't meant to take the story seriously from an adult's viewpoint. The kid sidekick was there to engage kids' fantasies, that they could be out there fighting red skulls and evil clowns and pernicious purveyors of puzzles along with their heroes. Boy, she can bewitch me anytime and I won't make a peep. Jinx, compose yourself. Let me get a sock at him, Green Mask. Well, I'll be doggone, who are you? I'm Rainbow Boy! And like Young Justice, these early sidekicks worked great together. While superheroes in the Golden Age occasionally teamed up and rarely formed teams, kid sidekicks formed partnerships that lasted. Catman's young ward Kitten and the Deacon's partner Mickey formed the Little Leaders, a feature that ran for several years. The Wizard's pal Roy and the Shield's partner Dusty became the Boy Buddies with nearly a dozen shared adventures. And, most importantly, the Human Torch's sidekick Toro and Captain America's young pal Bucky, along with some non-costumed youths, became the Young Allies with over 100 appearances as a team. Although the Golden Age was definitely the heyday of the kid sidekick, DC made a strong attempt to revive the trope in the Silver Age. With Robin and Green Arrow's sidekick Speedy still hanging on from the decades before, DC also introduced Kid Flash to the pages of The Flash and Aqualad as a young buddy for Aquaman, and together, along with Wonder Girl, who wasn't even a sidekick, but that's too much of a story for this video, they've joined together to form the Teen Titans. DC's main competitor, Marvel, avoided the kid sidekick trope, a concept Stan Lee didn't care for. The closest they got was the Hulk's young pal Rick Jones, but he didn't quite fit the archetype. Phew, safe at last.
Don't kid yourself, nobody's safe.
And although DC continues to keep the Robin name alive, although with different people in the role, the age of the sidekick is more or less over. Sure, there are young teen counterparts to adult heroes, Superboy, the current Wonder Girl, various Spider-Girls and younger Spider-Men, Ironhearts and Impulses, but these young Avengers tend to have their own solo careers and don't just follow around their adult mentors. I think, though, that this might be better. I have a soft spot for the Kid Terrors and Freckles Marvels out there, but at the end of the day, maybe the kid doesn't want to be the hero's friend. Maybe the kid wants to be the hero. Sidekicks grow up, and so too does the concept of the sidekick. We don't need a Robin that tells Batman he's right. We need a Robin that tells Batman when he's wrong.
And that is Young Justice's Golden Age influence.
Fellas, that note's a phony. No teenager would use the word music in a hip language message. They'd use jive.
Wow.